both spouses are called partners. Because it is a business. Until we start saying it like this, we won't understand. This is why both spouses are called partners. And when you are starting a company or a business, we have what is called contracts. We have what is called contracts. Now, why do you think that in marriage, contracts are also signed? Now, the question is this. Why are people intentional about business but not intentional about marriage? Why are people intentional about business, but when it comes to marriage, they are less intentional? They think everything will just happen automatically as far as they love the person in question. But when it comes to business, people believe that they need skill and they need extra attention and they need to put things in place for it to work. But when it comes to marriage, they just bring themselves anyhow they like and they believe both of them will just find a way. Have you ever seen a business whereby the partners come together and say, we'll just find a way. Let's just go unintentional. Let's just do whatever we like. Everything will just fall in place. Such business will not see the light of day. Why? Because the intentionality of business will determine if that business will thrive or it will die on arrival. So with this, I can boldly say that the intentionality towards marriage will tell if that marriage will see the light of day or it will die. Marriage is not different from business. And I'm going to be proving it to you that marriage is not actually different from business. They are one and the same. Just as business is an investment, an intentional investment, so also marriage is an intentional investment. Whatsoever you put in will determine what you bring out from it. So the output is a function of the input. So the input will always determine the output. So the input is very, very important as it regards marriage or business itself. Because whatever you put in will determine what you bring out. So I wonder why we are not putting in the same effort as we would if it was a business of buying and selling or services and goods. So I wonder why we are not being intentional. Let's take business, for example. Let's take somebody that wants to start a company. Now, the person would not just look for a partner that will just be there and has no skill, has no money, is not contributing anything. The person will look for a partner that is either contributing the skill or is contributing the finances. Right? So both must be a contributing factor, either a skillful contributing factor or financial contributing factor. And if they want to look for hands to come in and help with the business, they are also going to look for hands that are skillful in the direction of what they are about to establish. So what is the definition or what is the criteria for choosing a partner? The partner must have a contribution to what you are about building. So I wonder why people, when it comes to marriage, people don't consider contribution. Because when you are considering contribution, you are considering the value that that person will bring into the home and into the marriage. Hence, I am fed up of this generation that when you ask them, what do you bring to the table? They become angry and defensive and telling you stuff like, I am the table. Just imagine asking a partner, what do you bring to the table? That means, what do you bring to this alliance? Marriage is an alliance, as business is an alliance. What are you going to bring to this vision? And they will tell you something like, I am the vision, or I am the company. So would you take such person serious? So when you are asking a lady or a guy, what is your contribution? What will you bring to this alliance? They are supposed to come up to say, as a partner, this is going to be my contribution. This is going to be my addition to this alliance. So we must understand that there is no difference between business and marriage. Because if we understand this, we'll be able to approach both. Mostly we'll be able to approach marriage intentionally. There is a simple reason why both spouses are called partners. Because it is a business. Until we start saying it like this, we won't understand. This is why both spouses are called partners. And when you are starting a company or a business, we have what is called contracts. We have what is called contracts. Now, why do you think that in marriage, contracts are also signed? Wow. Why do you think that couples sign contracts? Whether it is a marriage register, that is a contract. That is a document that validates your contract that you have taken. Let's talk about dividends, right? Because dividends, when you have companies, when you have a company, you have dividends coming from the company, right? So does marriage have dividends? Before we talk about dividends, let's understand this. Anybody that has not contributed cannot have dividends. If you talk about shares, for you to have dividends of shares, you definitely have to procure the shares, right? You definitely have to give something in exchange for those shares, which later gives you dividends. That is it. So as business is that you have dividends, so also is marriage that you have dividends. But in business, there is always something exchanged. in order to have dividends. In marriage also, there is also something that must be exchanged in order for you to have the dividends of marriage. So what are the dividends of marriage? Number one, we have progress. Why? Because two heads comes together, and whatever they do, they have good rewards for their labor. That is why two are better than one. They have good rewards for their labor. But two, there is peace of mind. Number three, the dividends is a creation of a home. Now, when I say a home, I'm not talking about a house. There are people that are married, all they are living in is a house. A home is that place that brings you peace, comfort, and joy, right? So that is the dividends of marriage. The dividends of marriage is also companionship. Companionship. A shoulder to cry on, to lie on, to somebody that holds you when you are in your vulnerable moment. Somebody that will stand for you and defend you at any time. Somebody that is always there at a daily rate. For there to be dividends, there has to be intentional investments. So having seen all these dividends of marriage, the question would now be, what would you exchange for all these dividends? What are you ready to sacrifice for these dividends? So it is up to you to understand that for there to be output, there has to be input. So now another comparison between marriage and business is the fact that anybody in the business that is not productive is sacked, is let go. Any unproductive partner is either bought out by other partners or let go. So, comparing this with marriage, same goes for marriage. Any partner that is not productive, you see a situation whereby both partners are going head to head. There are issues in the marriage. Why? Because one of the partner is not just providing our own part or his own part of the bargain. Then what happens? They are let go by a process called divorce. Please, you must understand that marriage is not different from business. Be intentional about it. Do it so that you can have the dividends. Now, I'm going to list the things that we do in business that we don't actually do in marriage, which is very wrong. Because I've been able to prove that business and marriage are one and the same. They are the same thing. Opening a company and starting a marriage, they are one and the same thing. So what are the things that we do in business that we don't even consider doing in marriage? What are these things? Number one is planning. Number one is planning and strategy. Every company and every business that is starting has a plan and has a strategy to fulfill or to carry out that plan. And these strategies are well spelled out. That's why the Bible was saying, he said, who would want to build a house and not count the cost that house would take? So, in business, there is planning and strategy. Why is it that you are starting a family, a marriage, and then you don't have a plan, neither do you have a strategy to achieve that plan? So this is very wrong. So to start a family, you must have a plan and you must have a strategy, just like business. Number two, in business, there is an investment. There is always investment. In starting a company, there are always investments. And most times, the capital investments are upgraded to an extent until the business becomes stable. That means you keep putting in until you achieve the required result. So also, there must always be intentional capital investment into the marriage. Now, number three is skill development. Both spouses must keep on developing themselves and not become sedentary after marriage. A lot of persons just let themselves go after marriage. And this mostly happens with women. They just let themselves go. They believe that marriage is the goal and they've achieved it. So be it. So be it. We must take cognizance of the fact that there is no company that undermines the role of skill development. There is no company. Hence, they keep on educating and re-educating their staffs and partners about the goal and strategies to achieve the goal. But when it comes to marriage, we don't educate and re-educate ourselves about the plan and strategies to achieve the plan. And there must be skill development over and over again. The man must develop himself to become or to stay relevant in the family and in his wife's life. And the wife must develop herself to be relevant and stay relevant in the life of her husband and her children. Same also goes for the man. Skill development is very crucial in marriage. Number 4. So the fourth one is the growth mindset. The growth mindset. So as a partner, to have a successful relationship, you must have a growth mindset. And this growth mindset must be worked on every time. You must have a growth mindset about the plan or where you want to be in the nearest future. And this growth mindset must be addressed and readdressed over and over again. So the last on the list here is risk and reward. Just as you have risk and reward in business, so also you have risk and reward in marriage. Risk and reward. because nothing is written on stones as far as marriage and business are concerned. So that risk, that air of risk is always lingering, always lingers. But notwithstanding, when the reward outweighs the risk due to everything I have listed prior to this very time, we can venture into the business or venture into marriage. The reward outweighs the risk. But notwithstanding, we must be intentional and work more to have the reward, because the higher the reward, the more the risk becomes non-existent. So when we work to increase the reward and to sustain the reward, the risk becomes bearable and becomes non-existent. So whatever you do, so your actions is up to you to build the business called marriage, or let it fall in on its head and declare bankruptcy. Now, lastly, when you say I do, please understand the weight of that commitment, because it is akin to signing the business contract. And both partners in this contract are accountable for the outcome of the business. So before you say I do, please understand what you are saying, and be careful and understand the person you are saying I do to. Is he a contract breaker in nature? Is he somebody that can't be trusted? Because when you go into business with a partner that can't be trusted, or you can't put your hopes on, let me tell you this, there is nothing you will do. The business will die on arrival, or the business will die before the plan gets achieved. So please and please, this is very important. There's no difference between business and marriage. There's no difference between opening a company and starting a marriage. If you understand this and you become intentional about it, you will always, and you will end up smiling and earning the dividends of marriage. God bless you for staying this long. Okay, now, if you watch to the end, please leave us a comment in the comment section so that we'll get back to you on any question that you might have, or any content at all that you would want us to treat. Just leave us a comment in the comment section and send us a like. Send us a like to encourage us to do more. And God bless you. Please understand this. Always be intentional about everything you do, and you will succeed. It's simple. You will succeed, right? Shalom.